Hello, ni hao. Welcome back to Wisdom Wednesday and Toy Thursday combined again with Johnny Tiger. The date is July 16, 2025. Today I'm going to take you through the world of the Chinese classic novel called The Investiture of the Gods. There are four uh, best of all time classic Chinese novels, and they are Romance of the Three Kingdoms, The Journey to the West, The Red Mansion, and Water Margin. So the Investiture of the Gods never made it to the list. However, personally, personally speaking, I have always enjoyed the Investiture of the Gods way more than even the four greatest classics. When I was growing up, my parents were almost never there. I was raised by my nanny, Maru, and she would read to me before bedtime. At 4 or 5 years old, she wouldn't read me kids' stories. Instead, she would read me Macbeth. She would read me Romeo and Juliet. She would read uh, 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 Hamlet and Trojan War and the Greek myth and the 12 labors of Hercules, the journey to the west, and of course, investiture of the gods. So I started being enamored by investiture of the gods at an early age, and after I grew up, I reread it so many times. In fact, just because of our figure today, I probably will go reread it again. Um, Long story short, investiture of the gods take place at the end of the Shang dynasty in Chinese history, roughly 3,000 or so years ago. At the end of the Shang dynasty, there was a shortage of gods and goddesses in heaven. Most of the old gods and goddesses were um, getting tired, fading away, religions were changing. So the major players, some of the elder gods, decided we needed some new blood in heaven. But how do we find who's going to be which god? Well, let's do a major war. Because the Shang dynasty was coming to an end and the new Zhou dynasty was going to start, so there's going to be a big war. So why don't we pick heroes from both sides, all the heroes that die at this final battle, and they will become the new gods and new goddesses in heaven. So obviously, Investiture of the God is like a historical fiction mixed in with a lot of high fantasy, with a lot of magic, a lot of heroic, a lot of magical artifacts and special weapons, special powers, and stuff like that, all mixed in. Yeah, it is a really good book. If any of you ever got a chance to read it, whether in Mandarin or in English, I highly recommend it. And today, the figure we're going to be reviewing, made by a lesser known company called Fancy Realm. This is the action figure of Lei Zhenzi. Lei Zhenzi. Lei Zhenzi is one of the heroes during the final war in the investiture of the gods. He fought for the Zhou army. He is one of the good guys. And what's really interesting is Lei Zhenzi was one of the very few. There were only 6 heroes that survived the war and stayed alive till the very end, and were able to become gods and goddesses without having to getting killed in the war first. Lei Zhenzi was one of them. He was one of the 6 that survived the war. And before we go any further, let's pause and look at the packaging details before I come back and tell you the story of Lei Zhenzi. The box this figure comes in is reminiscent of the Four Horsemen's Figura Obscura boxes with a magnetized outer cover that you can use as an action figure backdrop. It shows a abstract sun, I think, and some mountains and birds in the sky. Inside, the figure itself is simply loaded. I mean, the figure is quite large, almost 8 inches tall, quite beefy, and it comes with three pairs of hands, three head options, a hammer, a chisel, a lightning effect, two versions of his golden staff, and the staff was taller than him. It also comes with articulated flight stand, a rocky display base, and a name plaque with his name on it. Honestly, at 35 to $45, this is almost unbeatable value. Oh yeah, he also comes with a pair of wings as well. So who is Lei Zhenzi? What does he have anything to do with Lei Gong, the Chinese thunder gods? Yes, I said gods because contrary to what a lot of people learned, there's actually more than one thunder god and more than one Lei Gong. In total, at the end of Investiture of the Gods, there were 24 Lei Gong, 24 thunder gods appointed, all picked from those heroes that got killed during the war. And let's just debunk this right now, here and now, that Lei Zhenzi never became one of the thunder gods. Despite him having thunder in his name, despite him looking like one of the Legons, like I said, he survived to the very end. He did not die during the war, so he was never made one of the thunder gods. We'll talk a little bit more about that after I tell you his story. Don't worry, it's not going to be as long as Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong was crazy. That was crazy long. But Lei Zhenzi is not too bad. So we got to backtrack to just before the final war, before the Zhou uh, kingdom rebelled and went against the Shang dynasty. This day, the king of the last emperor of the Shang dynasty, Shang Zhou Wang, summoned the lord of the king of Zhou to come to the imperial city because the emperor suspected that the Zhou king, Ji Chang, was plotting a rebellion. At this time, Ji Chang actually wasn't plotting a rebellion. The only reason that the emperor thought that Ji Chang was plotting a rebellion was because he was so loved by his people. He had a lot of good reputation, and that worried the emperor. So the emperor summoned Ji Chang to the imperial city, thinking that once I get you to the imperial city, I'm going to chop off your head. So, on the way to the imperial city, Ji Chang and his entourage went past this mountain, and at, just as they were passing the foot of the mountain, there was a fierce thunderstorm, the lightning and wind, the rain lashing down. Ji Chang, being a little bit of a fortune teller, he knew something of future, how to tell the future, and stuff like that. Uh, knew that this was not a normal thunderstorm. This thunderstorm symbolized that a star was going to fall from the sky and become a mortal being. So King Ji Chang ordered his entourage to search the mountains, search the wilderness, see if there's any baby being born. Very quickly, they found an infant laying beside an open grave. And this was a beautiful, beautiful child with big, gorgeous eyes, beautiful head of hair, clear skin, just a beautiful child. And Ji Chang said, "This is not a normal child. This child was sent down by the thunderstorm. I'm going to make him my child. I already have 99 kids, and this kid is going to be my 100th child, and I will name him Lei Zhenzi. Now here we got to debunk a misnomer about the name Lei Zhenzi. A lot of people translate it to thunder shaking child, and that is not the proper way to translate his name. Okay, his name Lei is thunder. That's true. But Zhen, in this case, is not shaking, not like earthquake, not 地震. Okay, this is Zhen, like 赠送. Okay, it's given or bestowed upon, present. Okay, because he was brought to earth by a thunderstorm. He was a star that fell from the sky. So he was a gift from the thunderstorm. So his proper translation should be a thunderborn child or a child gifted from thunderstorm. Okay, that's how you translate 雷震, not thunder shaking child as shown on the packaging of this action figure. I wish people would research their literature and history when they do these things. Anyway, so Ji Chang named this child 雷震子. Just as Ji Chang and his entourage with this newborn baby was about to set out towards the imperial city to answer the emperor's summon, they ran into an old immortal sage. This sage's name was Yun Zhongzi, means cloud sage, and he was one of the greatest immortals at that time. But obviously, he didn't appear to them like immortal. He appeared to them like an old guy, like an old wizard. If we make it easier, think of him as a Gandalf the Grey in Lord of the Ring. Okay, so Ji Chang ran into Gandalf. No, Yun Zhongzi. Okay, Ji Chang ran into Yun Zhongzi, and Yun Zhongzi said, "Oh, what a beautiful child! He is a gift from the heaven. I came all the way from my palace to look for him because I knew a star was going to fall today. But hey, you beat me to him, so congratulations. He's your child. But when you go to the imperial city, something bad is going to happen to you. You don't want to take this child with you. Can I take this child back to my place and I will become his master? I'll teach him magic. I'll teach him how to fight, and you will meet him again in the future. Well, I mean, Ji Chang was a king, but he was definitely not going to argue with Gandalf. I mean, Yun Zhongzi. So he said, "Yeah, sure, okay, please take care of my son for me." So Yun Zhongzi happily took the child and flew back to his mountain home. And for the next 7 years, Ji Chang was imprisoned by the emperor. The emperor didn't kill him because the emperor didn't have enough evidence to show that he was plotting a rebellion. But the emperor had him imprisoned in a tower. It's yeah, sort of like Rapunzel. So for 7 years, the king Ji Chang was imprisoned by the emperor, and for 7 years, young Lei Zhenzi was raised by his master, the cloud sage. On the seventh year, the King Ji Chang finally got a chance to escape his prison. And while he was escaping, the imperial guards, the royal guards, were chasing him, hunting him down, trying to either recapture him or kill him. And he was all alone, just him and his horse. He was riding as fast as he could back toward the Zhou kingdom, where he knew he would be safe. But the imperial guards were coming fast. Them, their hunting dogs, and their archers were coming out behind him, shouting for him to stop, otherwise we're going to fire our arrows. And suddenly there's a clap of thunder, and the sky darkened, and a cloud drifted over, and a huge shadow drifted down from above, and a huge, monstrous man with blue skin and red hair stood in front of Zhou Chang. And Zhou Chang said, "Oh shit, I got royal guard hunting for me from behind, and I got a monster in front of me. I am so doomed." But then the monster said, "Father, don't worry, I'm here to save you." And Ji Chang was like, "Who's your father?" "I'm sorry." And the monster said, "I am your child. I'm your child, Lei Zhenzi. Don't you? Oh yeah, you wouldn't recognize me because I don't look like how I looked before." And Ji Chang was like, "Lei Zhenzi, what happened to you? 7 years ago, you were such a beautiful baby. Like how like you should be a 7-year-old child. How can you be a fully grown man?" Yeah, let's just say, how can you be a fully grown man? I mean, he was really thinking, how can you be a fully grown demon or monster? And Lei Zhenzi told Ji Chang, well, the royal guards are coming. Well, I don't have time to explain this right now. Let's get you to somewhere safe first. So Lei Zhenzi grabbed Ji Chang and his horse. Okay, this is one of the areas where it shows how freaking strong Lei Zhenzi is. He carried his dad and his dad's horse and flew them all the way back to the kingdom of Zhou in under 1 minute. Okay, so this guy clearly got super strength and super speed, uh, and could fly. And after he set his dad down in the kingdom of Zhou, he said, "Okay, Dad, we're back in the Zhou kingdom. You're safe now. You're back among your own people." And Ji Chang was like, "Wow, my son, you look so ugly." I mean, he didn't say that, but that's what he was thinking. "You look so ugly, but holy crap, you are like Superman. What happened? How did you get so strong? You're only 7 years old." And Lei Zhenzi said, "Well, I don't really know exactly what happened, but this morning I was still a child. I still look like a beautiful child. I still look normal. But my master Yun Zhongzi told me that, hey, your dad's in danger. You need to go save your dad." And of course, I said, "This master, I'm only 7 years old. What can I do to save my dad?" Yun Dongzi said, don't worry. I'm going to teach you magic, and 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 I'm going to show you how. But first, I need you to go fetch a weapon from the other side of the mountain. Okay, go to the other side of the mountain, look for a proper weapon, and then come back. So Lei Zhenzi went to the other side of the mountain and looked all over the place. He didn't know what he was looking for, but while he was looking for this weapon, he found a tree with two beautiful, delicious looking apricots on the tree. Getting hungry, he decided, oh well, I'm going to pick these apricots and have a little snack. And then he picked the apricots from the tree and ate them. As soon as he consumed the magical apricot, he felt an immense pain going through his whole body. His body transformed from this 7-year-old child. He transformed into like a 7 foot tall, muscular, humanoid demon with blue skin, fangs in his mouth, red hair, and wings growing out of his back. And Lei Zhenzi was scared. He freaked out and he ran back to his master. And he said, "Master, master, oh my God, I don't know what happened. I ate some apricot and look what happened to me." And his master smiled, and obviously his master knew this was going to happen. And his master said, Don't worry, my child. This is how you are going to save your father. Now you are strong. You have super speed. You have super strength. And here I have this golden staff. This uh, weapon. This rod that made of pure God, immortal gold. And you can have this. And I think this staff is like supposed to weigh several tons or something. Like it's supposed to be really, really heavy. And Yun Zongzi said, "Go, fly to save your father, my son, and then come right back, because it is not time for you to join the mortal world yet. You still have more training to go through." And thus our Lei Zhenzi flew to the rescue of his dad, brought his dad and the horse to the kingdom of Zhou, and then, bidding his dad farewell, he flew back to rejoin his master. And it wasn't until almost 10 years later, when the final war in the Investiture of the Gods, when Lei Zhenzi again went to the aid of his people, and he fought really valiantly during the war. Like this guy, like I said, he's basically got super speed, super strength, and he could fly. Uh, Back then, in a time and age where there's no uh, machine guns and rocket launchers, he was basically the air defense. He was the air force for his side of the war. Uh, no town could keep him out. Like for them to take any city, take any town, all they have to do is they said, "Can you fly over the wall and open the gate for us?" And he said, "No problem." And he fly over the wall and drop in and kill a bunch of people and then open the gate for his own people to come through. So he's like the basically the ultimate air strike, air defense, air force for his people. Uh, if you want a little bit of a uh, kind of a context on Lei Zhenzi, think of Angel from the X-Men, not Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'm talking about the Angel from X-Men. Again, he's a guy who can fly, right? Except Lei Zhenzi not only fly, he can fly like 100 miles a minute and can lift horses and men uh, into the sky and drop them to their death. And he was pretty scary like that. Not to mention, he looked pretty scary. Now, like I said, at the end of the investiture of the god, Lei Zhenzi was actually not named one of the thunder gods. So no one actually, if even if you read the original investiture of the god, it never said what he became, what god did he become at the very end. There's a little side folklore that I'm going to tell you guys is Lei Zhenzi was really unhappy that he was not made one of the thunder gods. So he started to constantly pick fight against the 24 thunder gods and injuring some of them and terrorizing them. Finally, the Jade Emperor got mad at him and sent him down into the mortal world to be punished, and he became the Tang Dynasty general Li Yuanba. Now, many stories said Li Yuanba, at the end of his life, was killed by lightning, and this is kind of uh, said to be why, because when he was a god, Lei Zhenzi spent most of his time terrorizing the thunder god. So now he's mortal as Li Yuanba. The thunder god had their revenge on him and killed him with lightning, and that allowed him to return to heaven, and there he stayed till this very day. Long story short, if I was to do a figure of the year for 2024, this guy would be it, no question asked. This is how impressed I am with this guy. Part of it is that the price, because at the base price, if you don't want the extras, this guy is like $35. $35, you get a figure that is larger than Mythic Legion figure, better articulated, and the shoulder pauldrons actually are done the right way. They do not inhibit its movement whatsoever. And he comes with way more accessories than you would at this price point with Mythic Legion as well. So if I think of Mythic Legion fees at every corner, and not just by little bit, by quite a bit as well. This guy also can be multiple characters. One of the head is Lei Zhenzi. That's the ogre-looking head. That's Lei Zhenzi himself. And the other two bird beak heads, that's Lei Gong, Thunder God. There's actually 24 Lei Gong. So if you have the money, buy 24 of these guys. It will be fun. Right out of the box, it joints all work perfectly, buttery smooth. The only time I had to warm him up was trying to get his weapons into his hand. That took a little bit of work. And unlike the figure that I recently reviewed, this guy, despite coming with an elaborate display stand, stands just fine without it. Now let's look at our Thunder gift, our child gifted by Thunder, Lei Zhenzi himself. This figure was made by Fancy Realm, a figure company that I've never heard of before this one, but they are making a few more figures based on the Investiture of the Gods. Next coming out is like Nuoza, one of the another hero, comrade of Lei Zhenzi, and then there's a sheep demon that's coming out. That's all. Like honestly, I am so big into investiture of the god. They can make a peasant from the story. I would still buy it. That's how much I'm into this. Especially when this figure, like holy crap, it's such a good figure. Um, I already talked about it during the posing video, the posing slideshow, or whatever you would call it, when we show the photos. But I do want to draw your attention to look at this swooshing effect on his weapon. Like this is such a cool way to make like a staff, something like that. Like this again, $45 figure, and he come with the effect piece like this, right? And this is basically the same kind of weapon that come with the Figura Obscura Sun Wukong. $70 Sun Wukong doesn't even come with an effect piece like this. Not to mention this guy doesn't just come with a staff. This guy come with like head options to turn him into Lei Gong and stuff like that. And his articulation just so nice. And he is a relatively large figure. You will see it how big he is when we show the size comparison photos. But roughly 8 inches tall and basically larger than a little bit bigger than Thor from Marvel Legends. Um, Now, there's one thing that this here. Excuse the hand. I'm going to take him off the stand. I'm going to take the wings off him. So this armor, this pauldron on his arm, this is actually articulated, so it will move with his arm. When you move his arm, okay. This is how I always feel that Mythic Legion joint or pauldrons should be done, not stuck to their back and like hinder their movement. I think this is the right way to do pauldron. But if you want to remove the pauldron, and you might, if you want to customize or give him a different look, be very careful. Okay, remove it from the bottom up. Okay, it will pop free, right? Okay, and you can see on the shoulder there's a thing here. Okay, there's the attachment is a like a ball joint peg attached to an articulated hinged joint. This is where things went wrong for me. When I was removing the pauldron on the other side, I did not realize that it was mounted on a hinge and a peg. I thought it was just like a dumbbell joint. So I pulled from the top down and it snapped the hinge, this hinge thing, it snapped it off. Okay? So I had to like double tape it and Mickey Mouse it back together, so he still look like he has a true pauldron. But yeah, if you pull it from the top down, it will break. So make sure when you want to remove the pauldron, you lift from the bottom to get it back on. There we go. It's actually very easy to get it back on. I don't know why they did it this way. Like I think if they use a dumbbell joint, it would still work the same way and it wouldn't break like that. So I think that hinge joint was a little bit of a a little bit of oversight on their part and a little bit of uh, carelessness on my part. But because this figure has been so good to play with, um, like everything works so great, so smoothly. I got careless. I just thought that, because everything pop on and off so easily, I figured that the pauldron, you just have to uh, pull it off, and I didn't realize that it was going to break like that. So be careful when you handle the pauldron. And I don't think the knee armor, I don't think these armors on his knees, I don't think they come off. After breaking the shoulder pauldron, I wasn't about to force it and find out, so I'll just leave them alone. Another problem that you guys can see I'm struggling with is the clamp on his stand is actually too small. Like this guy got a really thick, muscular body, so the clamp doesn't want to go around him very good. So you kind of have to find other ways, like clamp it around his belt or something, uh, and try to get that to work. But yeah, it's a bit of a fight, a bit of a fight, trying to get this stand to work for him. Uh, for him, yeah. Like I got it working now, but it's actually not holding on to him very tightly. Like if I move him, see, the stand will just come up. It's barely holding on. The only reason that it looks secure is because he's so well balanced. Like this is a really easy figure to stay standing, even with wings and a heavy ass staff in his hand. Unlike some previous figure I reviewed that just refused to stand. Um, in addition to the pauldrons, the waist armor also comes off, um, and hands and head can be swapped out, of course. When you switch his hand, be careful, his bracelet will come off too, so watch out, those don't just bounce off to get eaten out by your carpet monsters. We'll get a quick view of the back of the figure. And look at this, even though they already give us an articulated stand for this figure, they didn't just stop there. They even give you rocks. Okay, like this thing has like this explosion rock effect, like when he land, like the rocks just blowing off to the side like that. Like that's really cool. Again, let me remind you, this is a $35, $45 figure. I mean, this version is 45 bucks. This is a deluxe version, but you can totally do it without getting the deluxe version. The $35 still come with the weapon, extra hands, extra head, and all that stuff. The deluxe version, I think, just give you the light up feature and the one extra head. Now, I think the light up feature on mine is not working, or if it works, I can't see it. So I'm not going to try to show you guys on camera. But basically, how it should work is, let me look for the ah. So this is like a little chisel thing, and this is a hammer. So supposedly you take the hammer and tap the chisel, or I don't know which side you tap. Like I said, I can't see the light, but this is supposed to light up when you tap it with the hammer. Okay, that's how you get that to work. Now we'll look at some size comparison photos and then get my final word. But I think you already know by this time what my final word is going to be. This is like one of the best figures I have handled for quite a long time, especially at the $35, $45 price point, especially made by a company that no one's ever heard of before. Like, I don't say this often because I love Four Horsemen Studio, but this figure literally put almost everything they put out so far to shame. I mean, they put out some gorgeous stuff, but we all know that a lot of Four Horsemen figures expensive and they don't move very good, and you don't usually get a display stand with them or anything like that. But this guy is basically figura obscura quality, and at the basic level, he's cheaper than your basic Mythic Legion. So, yeah. Um, Thank you for watching today's video. Have a good day. 谢谢 and 再见. We'll look at some comparison photos. When I first bought this figure, he was only $45, which was a total steal. Now he's selling for $70, the deluxe version, and still available on Big Bad Toy Store. Even at $70, he is really a good figure, really, really good deal for what you get. But if you do want a premium Lei Zhenzi figure and you don't mind paying a little bit more, get the one made by Nota Collection, Nottaa Collection, or Nota Toys. The one they made is like 140, $150, and it is so much better than this one in almost every single way. Different wing options, different energy effects, more light up options, and all that stuff. For myself, I'm happy enough with my fancy well Zhenzi figure because at this price point, you put almost everything else to shame.